December of 2003, Canada's Supreme Court says cannabis is basically harmless and prison sentences for simple possession constitute a demonstrably unfit sentence. However, it upholds laws against cannabis because it might harm teens and pregnant women. Can you say cognitive dissonance?
There's just overwhelming and growing scientific and medical evidence about the bad long-term effects of marijuana. Tobacco is a product that does a lot of damage. Marijuana is infinitely worse.
In 2006, the government cuts off funding for the Federal Medical Marijuana Research Program.
This is nuts.
Even so, the tide is turning. In the U.S., by 2005, possession of small amounts of marijuana is decriminalized within Denver city limits. In 2007, lawyer Brian Vicente sues Colorado over a law that allows caregivers to sell marijuana to only 5 patients, thus limiting medical accessibility for his client, Damien Legault. They win. Their victory sparks the Colorado Green Rush. Between 2007 and 2011, hundreds of dispensaries open, but the industry is unregulated and banks won't touch the owner's money. It's like the Wild West without the cattle rustling.
Hey, gringo.
Recognizing the need for oversight, Vicente and Colorado lawmakers set up a well-regulated marijuana industry. By 2011, all dispensaries must be licensed. Inspections must be made. Every plant, leaf, bud, and stem is tracked. Taxes must be paid. The regulatory structure is called, and pay attention Canada, the Cannabis Best Practices. In November 2012, California and Washington State vote to legalize marijuana. The Americans are on a roll. Then, on August 8, 2013, a political earthquake.
I made an error in my computations. Oh? This could be an historic occasion.
CNN chief medical correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta publicly reverses his position on cannabis.
I've apologized for some of the earlier reporting because I think, we've been terribly and systematically misled in this country for some time, and I did part of that misleading. I think it's irresponsible of the medical community not to offer this as an alternative.
Is marijuana something you would prescribe to your patients?
I think there are certainly situations where not only does it seem to work, it seems to work better than what's already out there.
Republican Senator Rand Paul and Patrick Leahy introduce a bill to end mandatory minimum sentences in federal drug cases.
The ACLU reports that blacks are 4 to 5 times more likely to be convicted for drug possession, although surveys indicate that blacks and whites use drugs at about the same similar rate. The majority of illegal drug users and dealers nationwide are white, but 3/4 of the people in prison for drug offenses are African American or Latino. The injustice of mandatory minimum sentences is impossible to ignore when you hear the stories of the victims.
Some observers call it the beginning of the end of the war on drugs. In April 2014, Health Canada establishes marijuana for medical purposes regulations. Patients must register with and order from licensed producers who are now authorized to produce medical cannabis. In June 2015, Canada's Supreme Court expands the definition of medical cannabis to include any form of the drug, including brownies, teas, or oils. In June 2016, the Task Force on Cannabis Legalization and Regulation is formed. They submit their findings in November saying the move away from cannabis prohibition is long overdue. The report also recommends ongoing research into cannabis and its effects on human health.
It merely deadens certain nerve inputs to the brain.
Oh, well, any decent brand of scotch will do that.
Legalization of marijuana will be part of the Liberal Party platform. One of the things that we actually have to figure out is what the exact model is going to be right for Canada. And we'll base ourselves on best practices from around the world. My focus is on making it more difficult for young people to access it. And at this point, I don't think that corner stores necessarily are rigorous enough in checking ID to make me comfortable with that as an option.
In April 2017, a bill to legalize cannabis by July 1st, 2018 is introduced to Parliament. It allows use by individuals 18 and over and possession of up to 30 grams. Provinces can further restrict possession, sale, and use. As of November 16, 2017, cannabis remains a Schedule II drug in Canada and a Schedule I drug in the United States.
Anything else? Oh, yes. Denny Craig.